guys, this is a tutorial from Noel 3D. So today we are going to see how I created this living room scene that you have seen in the intro. And I'm going to show you the ways that I have used in order to achieve this result. So you can find the model or the starter file in the description below. What you'll find will look like this. So just make sure you download the file, and if you like to see what I'm going to offer, just download the file and follow me along. So first, before anything, what we're going to do is let's get out of the camera mode. And as you can see, if I hide this one, you can see the scene is fully set up. We have our kitchen right here, the dining is right here, then we have some elements like the lamp and others decorations, and we have a sofa right here. So most of the materials that I have used, I have imported them from 3D warehouse. But this sofa, I modeled this sofa myself, since I cannot find a sofa like this that's suitable for my scene. I just modeled it myself. So if you want guys to model, to show, I mean, a tutorial on how to model a sofa like this, you can just ask me in the description, and I will make it for you guys. So I think this is enough for the introduction. So just first, what we're going to do is let us add some lighting into our scene, right? Since the scene is fully set up, we're not going to do any modeling or texturing. Everything is done. The next process is just adding a light. So in order to add a light, we need three lights. We need a light right here, and a light right here, and a light in this window. So first click right here and right click, and then go to snap, and then cursor to selected. As you see, the cursor is now right here. So go to add, and then a light, and then an area light. So when you import an area light, the light will be imported in the cursor. The reason I made it right here is because this point is the center of this window, I mean this panel. So I want the light to be in the middle. That's why I placed it right here. And then I'm going to press RX, and I'm going to enter 90. This will rotate it 90 degree in the X angle, in the X axis. And I'm going to move it upward. And I'm going to go to this view, press SX in order to scale it in the X axis, and SZ. Just make sure that the area light matches the window size. I think this one is enough, and I think the location of this lamp is also close enough to the window. Make sure that you have placed it closer to the window. And then next, I'm going to place this light again here and there. So now you have finished placing the lights. So all the time, you don't have to go to add, and then you don't have to go right through every time you want to add a light. Just click this and press Shift D. That will duplicate the light so easily. Shift D is a command for duplicating items. So let's click this one. Go to click this lamp button. Where, as you can see, the intensity of the lamp is 10, and this is the property of this light. And I can see later deactivate contact shadows. But first, let's us not activate this one, and let's go to the render view right here. So when you go to the render view, as you can see, we can see some kind of light coming through our window, but it's not that much, right? It's a very little. But we also have some indirect lighting, I mean some environment lighting happening in our scene. In order to fix that, go to the world tab and decrease the strength to 0. When you do that, there is no environment lighting happening in our scene. Only the light that's coming from this light is what the viewport or what the scene gets. As you can see, the light is very little, so I'm going to increase the intensity of the light. I'm going to make it 150. As you can see, now we can see our room more clearly, right? I think it looks good without even indirect lighting. So I'm going to increase this one also. Let me make this one 120. Just, it's lighting is an experimentation. There is no fixed thing that you can do. I'm going to make this one, let me make it 80. but make sure that the lighting uh, does not be similar. As you can see, the light of this, I mean, the size of this window is a little bit smaller than this two, right? So you have to make the intensity of this light a little bit lower, since a little since the light that comes through this window is less than the others. You have to make it proportional. And as you can see, this window is a little bit larger than this one, so that's why I make this one 120 and this one 150. So make sure that you have made the lights to be proportional to their sizes. Make sure to keep this in mind. So as you can see, I'm navigating. In order to navigate, go to view, navigation, and then walk navigation. When you click that, you will automatically go to navigation bar, and when you move your mouse, you can just see wherever you want to see. And if you press W, you will move forward, S backward, D to the right, and A to the left, Q downward, and E upward. So this is simple walk navigation that you can use. But you cannot just always go right here and do this, right? It's a long way. So we need to assign a shortcut. In order to do that, go right here again. I have already assigned a shortcut, so I'm just going to remove it. And again, if you right click right here, it's going to appear assign shortcut, and click this one. It will say press any key that you want. In my case, I'm going to press V. So if I press V, it will automatically take me to this walk navigation. This is a very essential thing that you need to do, because it will help you to move in your scene very easily. So next, let me go to the top view so that you can see clearly. I think we have placed our lights, right? But as you can see, we don't have any indirect lighting happening in our scene. So in order to do that, go to the solid view, shift click right here in order to snap the cursor right here. Shift, the shortcut to snap a cursor is shift right click. So whenever you click anywhere using shift right click, the cursor will go there, or you can just click right here, and then if you click it, it will just go anywhere you want. But I'm not going to use this one. Shift right click is just the shortcut. Make sure to remember that. And then I'm going to go to add, and then light prop, and then irradiance volume. So what this will help us is, it will help us to uh, to create or to calculate indirect lighting in our scene. So just scale it up by using S, and SX to scale it in the X, GX to move it in the X direction. I think this one looks good, right? And I'm going to increase the resolution. Since our room is a little bit big, uh, the resolution that 444 in all axes may not give us the result that we are looking for. So we need to tweak things up. So I'm going to make the X, let me make it 8. Let me make it 8. I'm going to, let me add this ceiling for now so that I can see clearly. Let me click this one, go to right here, and let me make the Y also 8, since as we have a longer axis right here and longer. So as you can see, we have uh, already decided the resolution of the irradiance volume. I'm going to move it in the Z direction by using GZ. I'm going to press SZ to scale it in the Z axis. GZ, SZ, just a little bit. Now I'm going to press Alt H to unhide the items that I have hidden. So H is the shortcut for hide. Alt H is in order to unhide everything that you have hidden before. So if I click this one and activate this X-ray mode, now I can see where my irradiance volumes are. As you can see, these are my irradiance volumes. So next, after I place this, again I need two other light probes. The next one is go to add, light probe, and reflection cube map. I'm going to scale it by using S, and I'm going to move it by using G. So what this will give us is going to give us a better reflection in our scene. As the name also tells, it's called a reflection cube map. And then again, I need a third light probe, which is go to light, a light probe, and then reflection plane. I'm going to scale it just like this, and I'm going to move it. I'm going to place it just above my floor. But as you can see, I cannot see where this one is placed. So in order to see that, go to the rendered view, and then since this reflection plane is already activated, go to viewport display and then show preview plane. When I do that, you can see that there's some kind of glass looking material. So that is the reflection plane. I'm going to press GZ and I'm going to move it upward. I'm going to move it just a little bit upward than above the floor, just a little bit, since we need it there. So after we places that, I'm going to deactivate this show preview plane and I'm going to go to the solid view. So now we have finished placing three of our light probes, which will help us when we bake our indirect lighting. And then after that, go to render properties. So we need to adjust things right here, but just for now, let us bake without adjusting this setting, so that we can see what this settings will do to our scene. So just let us bake indirect lighting. So depending on speed of your PC, this lighting baking will be fast or slow, but in my case it's not taking that much time. So we have finished baking the light. So if I go to the render view, as you can see, we have our scene lit up very good. But if I press V in order to navigate, in your case I don't know what shortcut you have assigned, but as you can see, we don't have it's good, but there are some problems. You don't have some kind of contact shadows right here and there. So let us activate ambient occlusion. As you can see, when I activate ambient occlusion, we have some kind of ambient occlusion occurring wherever there is a contact between two objects. You can see clearly, if I deactivate ambient occlusion, you can see, let us deactivate this show release. As you can see, that you can see the change right here. So that's the effect what ambient occlusion does. So I'm going to slide this down and I'm going to make the distance to 0.5 and I'm going to make this trace precision to 1. So as you can see, it's looking better already, right? You can just see how much change that the ambient occlusion gives us. And then next, let us activate this show release. I'm going to hide this camera by pressing H. If I click this light and then go to this, press this light bulb. If I activate contact shadows, we will get a contact shadows in our scenes. So make sure that you activate this contact shadows so that this light will create a contact shadow whenever two objects are contacting. So make the thickness to 0.03. Don't make this one greater than 0.05. It will not look realistic. So let me get closer and I'm going to click this light also and I'm going to activate contact shadows. So as you can see, I'm going to move downward. If I deactivate contact shadows, as you can see, we don't have any contact shadows. But if I activate contact shadows, now we have a contact shadow happening in our scene. And if I increase, as you can see, if I increase this, the distance is going to increase the distance. I think you can see the change. But 0.03 is good for this scene. We don't need this the contact shadow to be greater than the size of the, I don't know what the name, this one, the size of this one. And then next I'm going to just make 0.03 so that it will give me a good result. And again I'm going to activate a contact shadow right here and make the thickness to 0.03, right? And I'm going to press Alt 8 to unhide everything. And I'm going to click this one, this curtain, and I'm going to go to rendered view and I'm going to change, the material properties, change the blend mode to alpha blend so that we won't have this kind of thing happening. If I hide, I think we have also this kind of crack or happening in our scene, right? We'll fix that later. After we bake the indirect lighting again, this will be fixed. So after that, again, I don't think we have finished our render properties. If I activate bloom, I don't think nothing that much is changing. I think things need to be a little bit brighter. If I just, let me show you what bloom does. If I increase the intensity of this light, just let me make it just too bright, and if I activate, as you can see, if I activate deactivated bloom, you can see the change, right? If I activated it, there is some kind of flare that's happening from the light. But if I deactivated it, I do not see any flare happening. So this is the function of bloom. So let me just change this one to default. I'm going to this light, go to this bulb, and I'm going to make it 120, so that will be uh, in the default. And I'm going to go activate screen space reflection, so that we'll get reflection in our scenes. Also, I'm going to activate refraction, as you can see. Uh, and again, I'm going to activate motion blur. If we're going to animate our camera, we're going to need a motion blur. And in the indirect lighting, I'm going to make this one to 1024. You can make it greater than this, but this one will look uh, will be enough for my scene. And I'm going to make the diffuse occlusion to 4, and diffuse bounces, you can make this one greater than 3. You can make it 6 or 8. What this will do is it's going to increase the light bounce that will happen in our scene. So in my case, there are only 3 bounce happening in our scene, in my scene. If you increase to 6, there will be 6 light bounces, and your scene will be more brighter than this one. So the more diffuse bounce, the more the scene will be brighter. So, but most of the time I keep this to I keep this to 3, and it will give me a good result. And then I think everything is done right here. Yes. Now I'm going to press Ctrl S in order to save. That's the shortcut for saving. I think that's almost the global shortcut for saving, right? And I'm going to click this one, click this plane, and go to click this button right here, deactivate short preview plane. I think we did not deactivate it earlier properly, and I'm going to press H to hide this camera. So I think our scene is looking good, right? But what we need to do next is it's a little bit too bright for me. If I go to the top view and hide the top, it's a little bit too bright for me. I don't think I think we can do better. So in order to change that, I'm going to make this one, click this one, and I'm going to, I don't think I need to change the light. I'm just going to click this irradiance volume, and I'm going to change the intensity to 0.75. So what this will do is it's going to decrease the intensity of the indirect lighting happening in our scene. So if I make this, for example, 0.5, the intensity of, or the brightness of the scene will be just half of this one, or half what you're looking for, half what you're looking at. So just most of the time 0.75 will give me good results. So after that, just let us go to solid view so that it will calculate faster, and I'm going to hit back indirect lighting. So we'll wait until it finish this one. I think it's taking a little bit longer than the previous one. It's because we have adjusted some settings that will just take some time. So I think it has finished. So if I just go to my rendered view, I think the scene is a little bit darker. As you can see, it's a little bit darker. And let me go to upward and see it clearly. I think I can see it clearly. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this one. After I back this one, I'm going to increase the lighting. Let me make this one 200. Let me make it 220. So the reason I decreased the intensity of that in the indirect the evidence volume earlier is to increase the light after I baked it. So what this will give me, it's going to give me some kind of directional light. As you can see, if I when I increase this one, as you can see that some light, you can see some directionality happening from the listen. But if I just make this, for example, 100, you don't see that much of directionality, right? But if I make this one just again 220, we can see that it's a little bit bright, or we can see much more light coming from the window and affecting our scene, right? The scene right here is a little bit brighter than this. Most of the time I use this technique, and then again I'm going to click this one and I'm going to make this one 180. Just increase it, and I'm going to click this one and just let me make it 140. so that I will have that directionality that I am looking for. So I think our scene is looking good, right? We don't have any irradiance and artifacts problems, right? We don't have that kind of problems. uh, I think it's looking good. We have also solved this some kind of there was some kind of texture happening in our scene, right? It was not good, so we have also solved that, and I think we're looking good. But as you can see, uh, let us press aim and press go to view. So if you go to view, you can see the focal length is 50. If I change to 30, now I can see a more wide angle view of my room. I think this is better, right? Since we are working right here, we need a better angle of our room, right? So I'm going to press Ctrl S to save it. It's going to take some time. And then after that, go to if I go to the top view and go to this one, solid view, you can see we don't have any background lights, right? So we're not going to use any HDRI or anything. We're going to use an image texture from the texture.com. I have included the link in the description below. You can find it. So I think you can find it in the description below. I will put it right there. So I'm going to go to add and then go to a mesh, and then I'm going to go to cylinder, and I'm going to press S in order to scale it. I'm going to press S to scale it and go to the edit mode, press the top view, and again the bottom, press X and then press faces. This will delete the faces, and then we're going to give this cylinder a texture so that it will act as our background. So the image is, just find the image that you have downloaded. Mine is right here, but before that, change this editor's type into a shader editor, and then press new in order to add a new material. So this is the material of our object right now. Now I'm going to drag this image and drop it, and then I'm going to connect the base color to the base color, and we don't see anything happening, right? For that to change, we need to go click this button right here and change the material to the texture. So by this, now we can see our textures in our viewport without going to a rendered view. But we want this to be an emission shader. We want this to emit some kind of light. If you go to our render view, this does not emit any lights. Since it's supposed to be an environment or a background, it needs to emit a light. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete this principal BSDF, and we're going to go to add, and then search emission, and you're going to move it right here. G is a shortcut for moving, keep that in mind. So when we do that, as you can see, this is now releasing or emitting a light by taking information from this image, as you can see. So when you increase the intensity, it will increase the intensity. For now, let us make it just 5, and go to view, camera, and then active camera. Let us go to our camera, or you can just use 0 in your numpad. That's the shortcut for a camera view. So after we get into that, if I just hide this one, I don't think we can see clearly. So we need to move. Let us just make this 1 so that we can see clearly first. As you can see, it's not UV wrapped, right? It's not, the texture is not placed properly. So in order to change that, go to edit mode by pressing tab, and then alt click, go to edge selection mode first, press alt click in order to select and one edge loop, and then again press shift alt click. This will select both of our edge loops, and select again this one, this straight line, and right click and then go to mark scene. So now we have marked our scene. Then next press A in order to select everything, press U, and then press UV unwrap. What this will do, it's going to unwrap our image into a straight line or a plane. So in order to change what you have seen, just move your cursor right here and click to the right. It will create a partition and change this one to UV editor. Now you can see our image right here, and this is our UV. or this is our UV map. So if I rotate this one 90 degrees, you can see that it's the effect. You can see the effect right here. So let us rotate again in the 180 degree until it becomes a straight line, and then again I'm going to scale it upward. As you can see, just scale it until it fits the scale. I think this one is really good, right? The scale is good. So this is the purpose of UV unwrapping. It will make our material into a plane. That's why I've marked the seams right here, and I think this one is good, right? And then if I go to the camera view by pressing 0, now you can see that and now you can see the texture of the background clearly in our living room, but it doesn't look like it's realistic, right? So in order to change that, just crank up the strengths so that until it looks good for you. What if, let's say, what we need to rotate this one or control the scale or anything, then I think it's looking good. If I press Alt H, now we can see some kind of background light that's visible from our window, right? And if I just select this one again, and then I'm going to activate this show overlay so that you can see what you're selecting, and go to the camera view again, and this just increase the intensity until it's good for you. Don't make it too high, just make it just let me make it right here. I think this one looks good. It looks better. Then after that, what we're going to do is we're going to bake the scene again. Since we have just placed an emission shader in our background, we need to bake it again. So in order to do that, just make sure to reset these lights in their default. This one was 150. This one was 120. And this one was 80, right? 80. Yep. And I'm going to press Ctrl S again to save it. Go to the solid view so that it will calculate faster. I think I'm going to hit bake again. I think it has finished. So now, as you can see, we have our scene. And then we're going to increase, as I've said, told you earlier, you need to increase this one. Now I'm going to make this one 180 to just to have that directionality feeling that I have explained earlier. I'm going to make it 130, and I'm going to make this one 220. Just make sure that you increase a power of 60 to 50 to 80 watts after you have calculated indirect lighting. That will give you a good result. So I think our scene is looking great, right? I think we don't have that much of a problem in our scene happening. I think it's looking good, right? So next, let's go to the solid view. Let's add a sun lamp so that we can have a sun coming through our window. So in order to do that, go to add, and then go to light, and then go to sun lamp. Now we have our sun lamp right here. I'm going to press GY to move it right around here. GZ. The location of this sun lamp does not have any change, but only the rotation of the sun can have an effect in our scene. So I'm going to press RX, just rotate it a little bit. Now I'm going to go type and select this lamp, and just let me increase the intensity to 10, and let me change the color to that. I think it's a little bit warmer, right? So if I press 0 and go to the rendered view, now you can see this sun right here, right? I think the sun is already selected. So if I press RX, as you can see, we have this this feeling, and then again press RZ so that you can rotate in the Z direction. RX again. So just change this, change the rotation of this light in the direction that you want it to be, and make sure that you activate contact shadows and make the thickness to 0.03 meters. And I'm going to increase the angle. So as you can see, if I increase the angle, the light won't be sharper. So this angle is setting to control the sharpness of our light. So just make sure that it's not I think right around here is good, right? Control S, just let me decrease it just a little bit so that it can be a little bit more sharper. So if I increase the intensity, let me just increase the intensity. Uh, Let me make it just 40 for illustration. You can see it's much brighter, but let me make it just 10. As you can see, it's a little bit too blurry right around it. The reason for that is the bloom setting. So if I just activate this bloom, wherever there is much amount of light, there will be much flare. I think everything is looking good, right? We don't have that much of a problem. So I think it's ready for animating or animation or animating the camera. So in order to do that, first right click right here and press join areas and move the arrow to the left. It will join these two places, and click this editors tab and change this one to timeline. So when you do that, we have 250 frames, as you can see. If you go to render output, you can see the frame start and frame end. So if I just make the frame end to 2000, now we have 2000 frames. And then I'm going to change the frame rate to 25 so that I will have 25 frames or images per second. So after that, if I just go to view navigation, walk navigation, or I can just press V, since V is my shortcut. And if I just move right here, you can see that I'm moving my camera manually. So I want Blender to to uh, to record the movement that I'm making manually by walk navigation. So in order to do that, first activate this show overlays and select this camera right here. When you select this, the edge of the camera, it will select it, but make sure that this show overlays is activated in order to select the camera inside our camera view. Also, you can just get out of by your navigation. You can just select the camera and then go to press 0, and it will take your camera view with a selected camera. And then after that, I'm going to activate this auto keying. So what this will do is whenever I get inside of my navigation, it's going to record the movement of my camera. This is the function of this auto keying. So after that, I'm going to press spacebar in my mouse. This is if I just hit play, as you can see, this is playing, or it's animating my camera, or plays. I mean, spacebar is the shortcut for that. So, but since in the render view, whenever you hit play, it's going to get very slower since it's in the render view. So I'm going to go to the solid view so that it will be faster. So if I hit play, as you can see, the frame rate is 12. The previous one was 7. So I'm just going to hit right click and then click this one so that will snap to the first frame. And after that, I'm going to hit play and then press V automatically or fastly so that I will go to my navigation. So as you can see, I'm just moving my camera wherever I want to see it. And if you see in the timeline, it's recording the movement of my camera. You can see those blue dots, orange dots. That is telling you that the movement of the camera is being recorded. So if I will move wherever I want my camera to move. And I'll just record this one. I'll just record my camera wherever I want it to see. So make sure that you will keep your movement of your mouse as much as still, since you're doing it manually. So as you can see, I have finished moving or animating or viewing wherever I want my camera to see. So after it's finished, deactivate this blue dot right here. So if I hit play, now you can see that my camera is moving. So this is a preview of what your camera movement was. So this is the function of this auto keying. It will automatically record any moving object in your scene, whether it's rotation or movement, or whether there is a change in location, rotation, or scale. It will automatically record it. But the next thing that we're going to do is, as you can see, the frame rate is 11 I think it's 30. I think the average is, let us make it the average to be 12. But when we see our frame rate, it's supposed to be 25. So what this will tell us is this viewport is, whenever we render it out, it's going to be 2 times faster. It's going to double this one, this speed. So in order to see the speed of the real animation, so in order to see the real speed of our camera, what we're going to do is go to this render output, and then in the time ramping, change this one to, let us make it 200. So when we make it 200, it's going to show us the real speed of our camera. This is the real speed of our camera, or this is what our camera is supposed to be when it's rendered out. So when it's 200, this one will become like 25 or 25, or approximately 24 frames per second. So as you can see, this is our camera view. I think it's a little bit faster, right? Let us just start it from the beginning. So I think it's a little bit faster. So if I just leave it as it is, 100, it's going to be no, I'm not going to make it 100. I'm going to make it 50. Since the 200 version, or when I make it 200, it's showing you it's going to look like when it's rendered, right? So that's what's supposed to be. So if I make it to 50, it's going to make the speed of the render to be half of what we have seen. So I'm going to make it 50, so that we'll have a slower render. So this is how you can control the speed of your render if you have a slower PC. So as you can see, if this FPS is supposed to be, for example, if it's 25, we don't need to tweak this things in order to see what our final output will look like. We don't need to use this. But in this case, our frame rate is almost as half as what's supposed to be. So that's why we're tweaking this one. So make sure that you will use this whenever you are dealing with animation. So I think this one is looking good. After we have finished animating our camera, next again it's go to the output, and then go to change the output folder, or make the output folder wherever you want it to be. In my case, I want it to be right here, and change the file format to ffmpeg, and click this 3 dots right here and change this to this one, and then again press this encoding. When you press this encoding down, it is automatically set up. Since we have clicked this one, it will automatically set up this one for us, and most of the time the output quality, the medium quality, will give me good result. But in this case, I'm going to make it high quality. You can just increase it as you want. It doesn't have that much of value for me, and I don't think this. I think the property or the setting right here is enough. We don't need to change any other things. So after that, what we are going to do is, we have already selected where our rendering needs to be. Just go to render and hit render animation, and this will automatically render your video file. So based on the speed of your PC, it will render it out. But since Eevee is a real-time render engine, it won't take that much time. For example, in my case, it only take about, as you can see, 6 seconds per frame. So I don't think it will be greater than 20 seconds if your PC have any kind of graphics card. I don't know, it's just my guess. So this is all for today, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe so that I can keep making these videos for you guys. Thanks for watching.